Hello, my friends. Katie Day with the Movement to Texas team with another episode of the Real Advice podcast. I'm excited to dig in with this week's guest. He is a broker owner of a brokerage in Canada and has over 16 years of experience here in the real estate industry. He's deeply involved in his community, which I think is awesome, with young professionals organizations, Kiwanis, YMCA, all kinds of different things. In addition to running a brokerage and just the regular real estate brokerage of buying and selling homes, he's also an investor as well as a business coach. Please join me in welcoming Sean Ryan from Ontario, Canada.
Thanks, Katie. Quite an intro.
What's going on? How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Like you were saying earlier, it's warming up here in Canada. Sun's shining. We're getting our summer weather. That's why we put up with the winter all year to get here, right?
Yeah, your week or two. Because when does it start snowing again? Like, August?
Next week. I have to start rebuilding my igloo soon so I can live for the winter. But no, it actually gets 100 degrees here in the summer.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's warm. That's warmer than I would expect.
We have some of the nicest beaches too.
So for those, since Americans aren't great with geography, where are you in Canada?
So I am about 2.5 hours west of Toronto.
Okay.
And I'm right on the border of Michigan.
Okay. That
Not
makes
Windsor,
sense.
but Sarnia. So I'm about Detroit's about an hour west for me.
Okay. That puts it into perspective. And not everyone knows, American geography, but when you give the state, that you're above, that kind of helps out.
There's a lot of states in the States.
There are a lot of states in the States, but there are a lot of provinces and, cities.
So like 10.
Half of the people listening still don't know what a province is. So,
yeah,
all good, all good. Anyways, so for those that may not know you, how did you get into real estate?
Geez, I started when I was 22. I went to college for trades originally. I went to college to be a machinist, tool and die. Then I went to college for industrial maintenance, mechanic, welding, because that's what my family did. So
okay.
I did that. We live in an industrial town, petrochemical, and I was bartender at the time. I'm like, I know I did a tour of a factory where I'd be working. I'm like, I can't do this. Like these people look like they're not having a great time.
Yeah.
And then I was going to go to chef school actually, and go to chef school. I'm like, so I want to own a restaurant. I'm like, I don't want to own a restaurant. I decided because I'm like, the restaurant owns me, and I'm not going to have the freedom that I want. And then I was going to become a airplane mechanic, aviation mechanic. I was going to go. Yeah, I was all over the place. I was like, I graduated high school. I was like 17, right?
Yeah.
And then I was a bartender. And I served a lot of realtors. I was like, I like houses, and I think I could do this. And so I got my real estate license. Yeah, that's how it all started. Everyone in my family said, Sean, you're nuts. And so yeah, I got into it. And about 6 months in, I quit my job as a bartender and just jumped in full time. And I taught piano lessons actually for the first year I was in the realtor. And then I realized very quickly I better do better at real estate because I don't want to teach piano lessons for the rest of my life.
That's quite the kind of path of ideas to go down. Like you just named so many different industries and occupations that I don't feel are complementary really at all. Right.
No,
as far as industrial and then owning a restaurant or working in a restaurant or doing that. And then some of them are a little complementary. Right. I mean, I think a lot of people that are in hospitality get into real estate. Yeah. Right. But I can definitely see, that there's probably a lot going through your head at that time before getting into this.
The training I had for a realtor, I didn't realize it, was in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was a real shy person growing up.
Okay.
I wouldn't go talk to anyone or go hey, I'm Sean, I want to, hang out or something like that. I was very quiet and shy, but the restaurant industry breaks you out of that pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think the being able to have conversations with people, especially, when they're hungry, is something that I know when I'm hungry, I'm not a joy to be around. So, trying to have conversations and build rapport with people in a very short amount of time definitely, served me well in real estate after working in restaurants and hospitality and stuff. So I feel you there. Looking back on it now, what advice would you give to new agents, right? So looking back on kind of your start and having, some side jobs and doing it maybe potentially part-time, like what advice would you give to a brand new agent?
Get a database right away and write everything down. There's so many deals I've lost over the years because I just didn't follow up with people as well. And don't make it about the commission check. I think when I was like 22 and I started, it was all about like, oh, I'm going to make tons of money.
Yeah.
That's all I thought about. But really, like, we're pretty fortunate we get to help people with like one of the biggest decisions in their life. And when you make it about the people, and you do that right from the beginning, you get a reputation for it, and you get more referrals. And then the money just kind of comes, it follows it. So that was kind of thing when I was young and hungry. I just thought about the money, which is hard to do, not to think about when you don't have any money. And you're like, how am I going to eat next month? But I wish someone would have told me that from the beginning instead of just, you can get this big check. And then, it's like, just help the people, be there for them, be consistent, and get a CRM going. And it doesn't matter what CRM you have, just one to use, and just be consistent with it.
For sure. The people and the relationships, the more that you can focus in on that, the money will come. And I completely agree. It's so hard when, you don't have any money, right? But that's huge. It's funny when you get communication from people and it's like, it's coming from the CRM, like you can tell that it's not like it's an automated text and things like that. And so, if you really dig in hard, and then use the automations in your CRM to like remind you to make those contacts and do those things, you'll find yourself, swimming in referrals.
Well, we used to have everything templated and on auto email, text and that. And then we got into really like doing it ourselves every week.
Yeah.
And sending out those masks that way. Huge impact, huge difference to like tailor them to the community and to the people you're sending to, and make different lists for different things.
Yeah.
We had open rates went up. People start emailing us back. Who would have thought, if it wasn't canned stuff, people actually interacted with you.
Yeah. It's interesting. And so let's dig into that a little bit more as far as the kind of follow-ups and things like that. What are things that y'all do to follow up with your database and like the people that maybe have already transacted, right?
So we have about 70% of my business is repeat and referral.
Well, after being in the business for 15 plus years, I would hope so, right?
Imagine I'm like, it's 5%. You're like, Sean, find a new business.
I'm like, I'm ending this podcast now.
Yeah, you're
have a great day.
So first of all, I think it starts with showing value back. And I never and not against anyone that does it, but I never like to have taglines like, oh, I'm never too busy for your referral or something like that. I don't like to reek of, I'm looking for business from you.
Yeah.
So we send out a quarterly newsletter to our clients that we make in-house. Every quarter we send it out.
Is that via email or is that like a paper newsletter?
No, we mail that one.
Okay, nice. So quarterly mail.
It's a booklet we make in-house. It's like 8 pages. We have a machine at the office that can make magazines anyways. And in there, we always highlight one of our clients' businesses as a shout out. And we put information in there about what's going on in the market, updates, upcoming events, new with the team, new with the family, everyone's kids in the office, what they are doing, new achievements. Every month we send out an email newsletter.
Okay.
It's always a video of me or one of our agents talking to start it off. Saying, and the first thing we say is, thank you very much for trusting us all these years and for sending us your referrals and telling us your friends and family. This means the world to us. And we get into the team. And that right there is priming someone to say, oh, I should be sending these guys referrals. And we get them just like that. It's like when you see the busker playing guitar outside the store, that change in there is his most of the time to start off with.
Yeah, priming the tip jar.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that's what we started adding in and saying thank you for the referrals to people publicly. And people start sending us more referrals instead of saying, hey, can I have a referral? So we do a monthly newsletter over email. We send out a yearly CMA. And again, that CMA is paper. Hard card is mailed through the postage, which is big. Birthday cards, Christmas cards. We throw 2 client events a year as well. And the client events, when getting up to them, we just had one the other day. We did a kid one during the day, and we did an adult one at night.
Nice. At the same place?
Same place. We did it in our office in the parking lot in the back. It's all fenced off.
Okay.
So it's really good. And we mail invitations out ahead of time.
Yeah.
People. And then it gives myself and the agents on our team the chance to call their clients to say, what's up? You know what I mean? So like, hey, did you get the party invite? I hope to see you guys there. How's the family? How's the kid? You know, go through the Ford method kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it gives them a reason to call them.
Yeah.
So I find that's much easier. But we had like 130 people show up to the kids event and stay for the whole 3 hours.
That's
we
cool.
had bouncy castles, Paw Patrol. We just bought Paw Patrol costumes. We own like 4 of them. And it's quite hilarious. So like I have a 16-year-old daughter, so we'll pay her and her friends.
Okay, I was like, who's getting in that?
I haven't had to do it yet. A couple of our staff had to do it when we first got it to do the promo video, and they weren't
that's hilarious
at all. But I took them for ice cream after. And we paid my daughter's friends to dress up.
Yeah.
And at night we did a rock concert. So I had 2 bands come in, free booze, free food, and we had 150 people show up, and it was from 6 to 10. But from 7 to 10, there's probably 130 people the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I had past clients, like, you know, you have those clients. And then I had people calling me going, hey, we didn't get an invite. How come? And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So we already have next year set for June 1st. You can come if you want. You want to fly down to Canada. And we got bigger bands we're going. We're going to try for like 250 people next year. And the clients loved it. And they said, you know what's cool, Sean, is we thought we were going to walk back here maybe and someone was going to jump around the corner and try to sell us something. And there wasn't one pitch about real estate.
Yeah, for sure.
And they thought that's pretty cool. We do a Christmas party every year as well. We do that at our office as well. We're right on the waterfront. So we're right, like where the celebration of lights go. So we always try to solve problems on our parties. You know what I mean? Like the Christmas one, we have a family photographer come. It's November 25th this year. You get your family photo done and we email it to you.
Before Christmas. Yeah.
We have Santa there with another photographer and like that printer with the cardboard cutout you get at the mall. And that's there for them. And they get to do that. When my nieces and nephews were younger, I used to dress them all up as elves. And they'd be there with the thing. Yeah, I know. I'm like that crazy uncle now.
Yeah.
And they'd have like toys. Then we have the cookie decorating. But then we have horse and buggy rides. Yeah.
These are epic.
Horse and buggy rides taking people through the light festival.
Yeah.
And then my brother sits outside and I have him he's a realtor on our team too. And my wife's a realtor on our team too. And I work for my wife now, let's be honest. And
you have the entire time, bro.
Yeah. First step submitting it. And he has a fire going out there with chestnut roasting for people to while they wait for the horse and buggy rides.
Yeah.
And it just give back. Oh, and then we do, what else? We do a scholarship every year too. So we give $1,000 away every year to anyone, any of our past clients or their grandkids or anyone they're a caretaker for. Apply for our scholarship once a year. So
that's epic. And so like between the quarterly mailer, the monthly email newsletter, the CMA that's mailed, birthday, Christmas, you know, that's almost 20 touches there. Right. And and then for the events, I mean, you know, you're obviously mailing it, you're obviously emailing, calling, texting, like you're probably having 2, 3, 4, 5 touches for those, depending on the person. Yeah. Right. And then if they come, there's, you know, you're seeing them in person. Right. And then, you know, we normally, I'm sure you do this as well for our events. We'll have some sort of like, you know, video footage or if it's photos, like then you have another touch there where you're sending out the marketing collateral of the like, hey, come find your picture and, you know, post it on social or find your picture and whatever kind of thing.
Well,
that's awesome.
The pictures for the Christmas event is a great one because when I send the Christmas photos on my tagline, we're asking for reviews.
Yeah.
And then usually we'll pick up 5 or 6 more Google reviews or Facebook reviews.
Yeah.
We don't sell in Canada really, so we don't go for those. But it's
huge. So you mentioned something that I want to dig in on deeper is Zillow, or not Zillow, Google.
Yeah.
And so I know that you've gone in pretty deep with like Google My Business and like different stuff like that. And so if there's anyone that's listening to this now that doesn't have a Google page yet, let's talk a little bit about that and you know, kind of how that's impacted your business.
Yeah, we sell about 24 houses a year for free from Google, which is phenomenal. No ad spend, just people, you know, best realtor near me, stuff like that. And you know, it's just about doing it and being consistent. And it's had a huge impact on our business because people find us all the time and they say, I searched best realtor and you came up. And I started doing it like 6 years ago, I think, when it first came out.
Yeah. Well, and so tactically, it's like, I mean, you listen to a podcast or you listen to a webinar about someone going over this, and it's like, you need to post 500 photos and you need to get your reviews up over 50, and you do this and you do that. And it's like, it's almost, when you look at it from a zoomed out version, it's like a little daunting because there's a lot of tasks. What would be like the first one or two things that you would say if you don't have a Google page, or if you have like a super stale one that you've never done anything on, you just claimed it and then it sat there? Like, what would be the biggest things that you would recommend someone do?
Well, first off, if you don't have one, get one.
Go to google.com.
Yeah, mybusiness.com, put it in. But just start doing something. What I mean by that is like, just start posting random photos. Start doing the odd product or the odd post, or try to get a review there. Like, don't try to tackle it all one day. Like, it's even like my past client plan. Do you think it's I used to throw one event a year.
Yeah.
I used to send out random birthday cards until I got people in place to really help me leverage and do this. Like, I don't do anything for the party. It's all set up for me, right?
Yeah.
But just start doing it. Start with the basics. Like, just do the basics very consistently, and then add another layer on. Like, what's that book called? Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
You have the best example of just do 1% more every day, and then just master it. And Google it. Like, literally Google how to do it, GTS that stuff, or look on YouTube, and there's tons of information on there to do it. Like, it's not that hard. It's actually one of the easier channels to run.
Yeah. But you think that adding in posts like is the best first place to start?
Photos I find is the easiest for people to
do,
because it's just like add a photo. You can do it through the Maps
app on your phone,
or the computer. Everyone has it. I'd say that's the best. That's the easiest to get you like just familiar with going on the platform. It's like 2 clicks.
I also like if you take a photo on your phone and you upload it on your phone in the Maps app, it's already geotagged, right? So I know like a lot of times people are talking about geotagged photos for your Google business page, and like you can use Geo Imager, but it costs money and you've got to upload the photos and then choose the location. And it's like, it adds extra steps, but if you have something you've taken on your phone photos, if the location services are turned on, like are already geotagged. So it's like, it's getting you where you want to be.
And you know what? And back like the geotagging, like half the people you talk to that are experts on say it has no bearing. Some people say it does have a bearing. It doesn't really matter. Like, and that's where people get bogged down, Katie. Is they're like, oh, I don't know how to geotag. I don't know how to put photos on. I'm like, who cares? Just start putting photos on, and then you can start getting fancy.
Adjust. Yeah.
Just once you build the habit up, then you can add to that habit.
Yeah. I like that. Because I think that you're right. Like, people get lost in what are the 47 things I need to do in order to make this happen? It's like, well, just get one. And then once you do that, adjust a little bit or
it's like trying people like time management's probably a big thing you guys do on your team as well. And people like look at my schedule and it's all like different colors and all these things, and they're like, I'm like, just start with like blocking off an hour a day, and I make like, here's your goal: call one person a day, make one post a day, and that's it. Just start with that, and once you master that, we'll add another layer on. And then they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's that simple. Like, just start with like something so simple, and then before you know it, you'll be like this.
What do you think is the biggest like roadblock or thing that you coach people on? Is it time management or like?
Time management is a big thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's also people being, a paralysis by analysis is a term we throw around a lot, and it's so true. But I think as entrepreneurs, we're so hard on ourselves. And Dan Sullivan writes a good book on this called The Gap in the Gain. I don't know if you've read it before or not, but whenever you make a goal and you meet it, you then get hung up on the next goal.
Yeah. The goalpost just moves, right? It's not.
And you never celebrate all the wins you had and where you came from. And I find that's the big thing with entrepreneurs and like people in this business is they forget to celebrate where they come from and the wins. They don't live like, they don't wake up and smell the roses almost. They're always like, thinking about, oh, I want to do better. I want to do better and better. And that adds, I think, to everything.
I think it's tough being in like so many people in like the real estate world are so competitive, right? And then the comparison stuff, because it's like, this is one of the few industries that everyone shares, what their volume is or what their accomplishments are, things like that. So it's like, oh, I see that like, Sean's brokerage sold this many homes and his team did this and his team did that. And it's like, oh, well, I should do that, and most industries aren't like that, like we are. So
yeah, imagine that. Did you see that one meme the other day? It was like a surgeon making fun of realtors.
Yeah,
he's like, I just did 3 heart surgeries today and got a new Lambo. Send your heart referrals over.
Cringy.
It was so awesome. But you know what? Like, I found myself doing this earlier this year too. Was I think we compare ourselves to other people in the business. Like, someone might compare themselves to you or me, and we've been doing this for a while. We put a lot of hard work in, and then they won't get started because they're too focused on what they want to be. Like, I even found myself this year is like I unfollowed a ton of realtors this year. I unsubscribed. Everyone, you can unsubscribe to everything but the Katie Day podcast. But I like unsubscribed to a bunch of emails because I was getting bogged down with maybe FOMO or something, or comparing myself to what I'm not doing. And I found that was a big relief. Like, I have one coaching client right now, and she is on a webinar diet. She's not allowed to watch any webinars for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And she came back after the first week. She's like, oh my gosh, what a difference.
I have so much time to get shit done now.
I'm getting stuff done from the last 6 webinars because she wasn't doing anything. She was just watching webinars. So it was kind of, too much sometimes, right, too.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's a balance, right, of personal growth and, finding the things that work for you and the things that you can do to implement in your business to help it grow, right? But like, you've got to pick one or two things. I think that whenever, we're coming into as the summer slows down, like conference season again, right? And like conferences, with like Tom Ferry Summit and other things, it's like you get all of these ideas, but if you don't pick anything and implement it, like what was the point of going and taking time away from your business and your family and things like that? So that's been something for me that I've really tried to do is in going to conferences and things of like, okay, what are the things? What's the nugget I'm going to take away from this?
Yeah.
As opposed to just being like very rah when you get back.
You're like, I got pages of notes. I can't wait to implement it all. And you're just like, I'm like, pick one or two things.
Yeah.
And then don't start the second thing until the first thing started or done. And then,
yeah,
Tom's been talking about this a lot of like the team retreats and stuff like that is what's your 3 goals for this quarter? That's it. 2 or 3 goals for this quarter. You can't move on to anything else until those are done. And that's been fantastic advice for a lot of people to break it down. I'm finding.
Yeah. Well, and I think for a lot of us, we got away from having goals, right? For the past 2 years, the market had been so busy. It was just kind of like taking things as they came, and the market was really good and frothy, and it just kind of business fell in your lap. And now it's like, okay, like what's the big picture goal? What are we focusing in on? What are the habits that we need to do regularly to get to achieve those? Is not a conversation we had to have in 2021 and 2022.
Well, you'd list a house and you'd be like, I got 15 offers. I'm amazing. I did that. And I remember I got a business in 06 and the market was pretty busy then. And then we had the 08 thing.
Yeah.
I remember myself being like, what do I do now? And this is back in the day when social media was just starting. We're still using fax machine. I had a Palm Trio and maybe I was just getting a BlackBerry at the time.
Yeah.
Agents were still faxing and they said texting was impersonal. So we didn't have all the tools we had today. Like I had a floppy disk CRM at the time.
I love it.
Yeah. And I remember the same thing. I had to relearn everything. And I was like, the best time to get in the business is when it's slow.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's because like, especially like we had 30% new agents get in the business the last couple of years. And it made a lot of us weak actually. And I don't want to sound kind of like negative or anything.
Yeah.
We all forgot what to do.
What advice would you give? Like, we know that this is a different market this year. I know you coach a lot of agents and teams and things like that. Like, what advice would you give to people, if they're kind of deciding on if this is the right path for them or not, right? Like, what are you coaching your teams on as far as like, what do you need to do to weather the storm right now?
So a lot of it comes down to conversations and consistency. And, we've been really preaching about quality conversations, not just do you want to buy, sell, do you want to buy and sell, but really like having that curiosity and getting to know people. But the big thing I'm saying right now is like, what's your hour of power non-negotiable? Even if it's like call one person, call one lead, call one past client, make one social post. If you can like commit to that every day, 5 days a week, it's like 1,000 times more than what you were doing before. Because really like, summer's a tough part. Like here, especially, everyone kind of checks out. But we have our busiest month in the summers because all the realtors check out and we answer our phone.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, we're talking about business planning for 2024 a lot right now. And I'm like, I say to everyone, I'm like, I want you to go into 2024 with 10 to 20% of your goal on the books already.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you want to make $1 million, you need 100,000 to 200,000 on the books going into the new year. So like, those conversations start today. And doing that. And a lot of times I'll pull out my old binder for them. I have an old Mike Berry thing. It's a 3-ring binder, and it has call sheets. And that's what I used to do. So when I got into business, I used to call 100 people 5 days a week. And then just check off the list, 100 people.
Yeah.
Then I'd go knock on like 100 doors. And I learned, don't do like a black suit and a tie in the middle of summer. It's really hot here. But it was all like I had it down. I'd call 100 people, 10 people talk to me. I'd get one deal, one lead.
Yeah.
I sold 51 houses my first full year in the business.
51 houses the first full year in the business. That's unreal.
I started in June.
Yeah.
Then the next year, so 51 deals I did.
That's epic. That's really awesome.
But I also 3 months in the business found I was having my first baby, and I was scared.
Yeah.
And that's what it took. I was like, okay, I got a family fee now. And I just, every day I was just consistent. I made calls, and we had no dialers. It was like one number at a time. No CRM. It was, like I said, it was a binder at the time, and it was painful, but we did it. And then now
now you just open up your CRM, you click the 15 people you want to call, you hit call, and it just goes through, goes down the list. So
yeah, exactly. So easy. It's like, this person opened your email, call them. I'm like, okay.
Easy peasy. But no, I mean, I think that's figuring out what that number is important, right? So I hope that it's more than one for those out there that are listening right now. But whether it is one person or 5 people or 10 people or making 15 calls or whatever it is, like, start somewhere. I think it is daunting to say, like, oh, I'm gonna sit down and call 100 people for 5 days, 5 days a week, every week. Right. But like, maybe it's, you're starting out with 10 people, then it's 15, then it's 20, then it's 25. Right.
And I think it's also, I think you look at this business and there's awards for like, this person grossed this much.
Mm-hmm.
There should be awards for like most money saved or fastest to retirement.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's what people lose sight of too, is like savings and health and vitality. Like I had my first daughter, she's 16, right? And then my other 2 are 7 and 3. And I got really caught up in just grinding out and working constantly and not making family time and missing things with my oldest. And I was really fortunate to get to try it again with my 7-year-old and my 3-year-old and be there. And now I'm like, I'm home for dinner every night and I'm home for bedtime every night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's non-negotiables for me. I take Fridays off now and Saturdays, and I'll work Sundays and do open houses sometimes.
Yeah.
People forget about why are you doing this? And that was a big thing, advice I guess I give people too, is, don't lose sight of that, of why you're doing this. Like, don't forget about family and making time.
Yeah. No, and having the balance of those different things, because it's like, if you're working all the time to make money, right, but you're not spending any time with your family or having any fun or anything like that. I recently heard like the 6 F's, right? And it was like family, fun, fitness, faith, finances, and friends. I think family, fun, fitness, faith, finances, and friends. And so, you're never going to have all 6 completely at 100%, right? But like, you need to have those, kind of adjustments. And so when you, are, lacking in one, maybe it's time to pick up on it, right?
100%. And again, I think it comes down to like time management and scheduling it in. For the longest time, I had blanked out on my calendar. So what I would do is I'd work till 6 and come home for the night. Right? I'd come home at 4 till 6 and have dinner. Then I'd show houses from 6 to 8, and then I'm home for bedtime.
Yeah.
And that was kind of how I did. Now it's just embedded in me because I've been doing it for so long. But I hit it like 99% of the time.
That's awesome.
So those 2 things. And it, once I did that, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And like, I was like, I wish I did this when I was 22, 23.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's the biggest thing that we always tell people when they're working on a time block schedule and things like that. It's like putting in the big blocks first. And so if that is, having dinner, with your family or date night with your significant other or whatever, that looks like for you, even just like happy hour with friends, right? Like, it could be something like that. Then, that doesn't mean that you're done working at 4 p.m. It may mean you're going to pick back up at, 7 or 8 after dinner's over. But Figuring out what those big rocks are super important for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Interesting question for you.
Ooh, what do you got?
If it were your last meal on Earth, what would you be eating?
I think I just go like some pie or something. I love sweets, like maybe ice cream, pie. That'd be fantastic.
What's your favorite kind of pie?
Ooh, I love a good pumpkin pie.
I feel like that's like trash pie. No offense.
But my favorite pie actually is pumpkin pie is a good old faithful. But my mother-in-law's neighbor makes this pie. It's strawberry rhubarb with like
Oh,
a custard
okay.
filling, and then it's topped with crumble and candied pecans.
That's
That
like
is delicious.
so many different things.
I know, fantastic. So
Yeah, no, that sounds good though.
or hamburger would be good too. Like I like to eat, but I love
Yeah.
dessert.
Yeah.
I need bag cookies like someone eats bags of chips.
I like it. Well, Sean, thank you so much for your knowledge and information today. I very much appreciate it. If someone doesn't follow you, where would be the best place for them to find you on social?
Instagram's fine. At Buying with Ryan. I guess I should put that in there like you did.
Buying with Ryan.
Buying with Ryan.
Awesome. Well, very much appreciated. Can't wait to hopefully see you again sometime soon. And I will talk to you later.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie.